with the California King at 72 inches by 84, and that's
what
just
in
showing
the...
off. So perhaps this additional
What
size
in
is
the
why Americans
Diddy
are more
is
likely to use it.
that? Like, I'm just like, what is that's got to be what Diddy had in his... Alright guys, your fellow Gen Z Brit is going to be diving more into America stuff. We're going to be checking out Lost in the Pond's channel again, guys. This is 5 ways British and American bedrooms are very different. You know, the irony about this video as well is I'm reacting to this whilst I'm in an American bedroom. Obviously, I'm not in my usual setup. Look, I'm really curious to see what this is going to be all about. How different are they? And maybe I'll actually be able to compare the two a little bit. Guys, we're going to dive into this one. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Don't forget to like the videos. It will help boost these videos in the algorithm for me. And of course, look, definitely check out Lost in the Pond's channel. It'll be linked in the description. He has some great videos on there. Let's dive on into this one, shall we? Let's go.
One of the most common bedroom differences I get asked about is, why do Americans sleep with that extra sheet between the quilt and you?
That is something that I was also thinking about as well.
I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to bedrooms. In Britain and throughout the world, people need a designated room where they can go to sleep and do other stuff.
Wait a minute, is he wearing like a British Doctor Who kind of shirt here? Like that, the TARDIS I'm seeing? That's a cool shirt. I'm messing with the shirt, by the way, Lawrence, man. That's a nice shirt.
Throughout the world, people need a designated room where they can go to sleep and do other stuff, like reading, for example. But depending on the country that you're in, the bedroom, a word supposedly coined by Shakespeare, might take a different form. And as somebody who has lived extensively in both Britain and America, this is most certainly true of those two countries. And so without further ado, here are 5 ways that British and American bedrooms are very different. Before we even get to the main centerpiece of the bedroom, which is the bed, there is one major thing that American bedrooms have that most British bedrooms do not, and it's something contained not within the 4 walls of the bedroom, but within the wall. I'm talking about built-in closets. Now, this is my walk-in closet. I say mine, I mean it is shared with my wife, of course. I say shared, I mean it's mostly hers.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
So you might be thinking, well, Lawrence, where do British people hang their clothes? And the answer is simple. In a wardrobe that admittedly takes up more space, unless it leads to Narnia. But while America may have the advantage in the closet department, Britain is still leading the way on these.
That's actually really interesting, and literally I can confirm that I have a walk-in wardrobe there. You know, like this room is actually quite big for me, but I don't have, I'm not used to seeing walk-in wardrobes in the UK from the houses that I've been to, unless it's like a really, really rich house. Yeah, and UK houses are a lot smaller compared to US, but the rooms that I've seen in the US, it seems like that's more of a thing, and it definitely is a thing in this room that I'm in. So hot water bottles.
Back in the days when I still dressed like a child, you bought me this t-shirt, you can leave it out. Back in the days when I was still a child, I distinctly remember sleeping alongside a rubber accessory that was filled with hot water. It was a hot water bottle, and it was one of those things that I'd forgotten about until researching for this video. For anyone not in the know, a hot water bottle is exactly the accessory I just described, and its purpose is to keep you warm while you sleep. It can be a problem if you accidentally burst it, because then your parents think you have another problem and you have to go see a doctor. Now, with the advent of electric blankets, hot water bottles have seen a decline in popularity. This is particularly true.
I've never heard of a hot water bottle, people sleeping with that. Like that, he said back in the day, and I'm a lot younger than him probably. I mean, I would assume so. I know we're not born in the same generation. It's just to say that's not something I've came across before ever.
Because then your parents think you have another problem and you have to go see a doctor. Now,
with
the advent of electric blankets, hot water bottles have seen a decline in popularity.
Electric
this is particularly
blankets?
true in the United States, but I have it on good authority that people still occasionally use them in Britain. But part of me believes that most of them just use it to refill their tea without leaving the bed.
People use hot water bottles. I have no clue. I had no clue people did that. I've never ever came across that before. You guys let me know if you're from the UK or from the US. Like, let me know what you think about that one, because that's an interesting one. Bed sizes.
As always, when it comes to comparing British and American things, inevitably it always comes back to size.
Yep.
And you might not be too surprised to learn that American beds, on the whole, are longer, wider, or sometimes both than British beds. So let's take a look at how that plays out, or lays out. That's a bed pun. Sorry, let's just take a look.
Mate.
So the smallest bed size in the United States is the twin bed. This measures in at roughly 39 by 75 inches.
Oh, we're getting into the metrics.
In Britain is a single bed, which is just as long as an American twin, but 4 inches less wide. After that, America has a twin XL, which is coupled with Britain's small double. Try saying that after 4 whiskeys. And then America has what is known as the full-size mattress. This is 54 inches by 75.
Wow.
This is almost identical to the double-size mattress in Britain. From here on out, things become like a game of chess, as both countries sort of introduce a royal family of mattress sizes. In the US, some people sleep on the Queen. Not the Queen, that would be breaking news. On a queen-size mattress, which is about...
And that was a slick joke. Rest in peace of the Queen, man. For my Americans watching, obviously, because she might not have known she's passed not too long ago. But yeah, that joke was so slick.
Countries sort of introduce a royal family of mattress sizes. In the US, some people sleep on the Queen.
That's a
Not
wild.
the Queen, that would be breaking news. On a queen-sized mattress, which is about 60 inches by 80.
Funny.
This is virtually identical to Britain's king-size mattress. But neither country ousts their bedroom monarchy there. What's better than a queen? A super queen. In the US, this measures 66 inches by 80. Funnily enough, the nearest equivalent in Britain is called, can you guess what it's called? Can you? It's called a super king. And it's 72 inches by 80. And so Britain wins, except it doesn't, because America also has a king-size bed that measures 76 by 80.
Yeesh.
And at this point, Britain's mattresses abdicated the throne, while America's just kept going with the California king at 72 inches by 84. And that's
what
just
in
showing
the...
off. So perhaps this additional
What
size
in
is
the
why Americans
Diddy
are more
is
likely to use it.
that? Like, I'm just like, what is that's got to be what Diddy had in his gut? Okay, let me not. Listen, US beds, that's huge. That is big. I mean, and it makes sense. Everything I feel like it's just bigger in the US, man. Like, why? I didn't even know they go that high. Like, why even need that? Why do you even need that much space in a bed? And more time, you probably couldn't even fit that in a UK size, an average size UK bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Because that seems very, very large.
Kept going with the California king at 72 inches by 84, and that's just showing off. So perhaps this additional size is why Americans are more likely to use one of these.
Why is it California king as well? Is it like something to do with literally because they only do that in California? Like, you guys let me know.
Americans are more likely to use one of these.
Boxspring.
However massive the mattress, it's more common in the US than the UK for it to sit on top of what is known as a box spring. And while I definitely couldn't claim to be a bed connoisseur, I hadn't heard of the phrase box spring until I moved to America. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, we don't call it that. Apparently, we call it either a sprung bed base or a divan. I've never used those terms either, and that's because this particular contraption is much less common in Britain. And so what is this contraption?
What is it?
Well, a box spring is a base that sits under your mattress that sort of incorporates a spring system like you might find in your mattress. And the idea is with that additional bounce, I won't keep doing that, the springs in the mattress have a greater shelf life. In Britain, our mattresses tend to sit on harder surfaces, meaning that the springs in your mattress wear down more quickly depending on how much you put them under duress. Mine were mostly fine. But so much for what goes under the mattress. Let's take a look at what goes on top.
I've never heard of a box spring. I've never heard of that. And if that's something that's what you guys call it in the US, I'm clueless until now. Wow, okay, I didn't even know they existed.
Let's take a look at what goes on top.
Bedding.
One of the most common bedroom differences I get asked about is, why do Americans sleep with that extra sheet between the quilt and you? And this is what's known as a top sheet. And while I have read that top sheets have become less popular among younger Americans, they are nonetheless still in wide use. But what purpose do they serve? Well, aside from adding an additional layer of warmth for Americans that don't know the joys of a hot water bottle, a top sheet is often used for hygienic reasons. The theory being that your body, and therefore body odor and sweat and dirt, doesn't come into contact with the comforter/quilt. And I can get behind this idea because it means you can wash the comforter less often. Who needs bulky laundry? Now, because Americans are more likely to use this approach than British people, they're also more likely to not use a duvet cover because what's the point? In Britain, this is largely how we get around the hygiene problem, if indeed we choose to. Now, if Reddit is anything to go by, then this is the source of a heated debate. So let me know in the comments below, top sheet or no top sheet.
That's
As for
actually
me
really
and my
interesting.
American wife, we compromised on both a top sheet and a quilt cover for some reason. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below how you keep your bedroom. Just keep it general. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. A big shout out to all of my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond.
Shout out to the
Until next
Patreon.
time, goodbye.
Shout out to the Patreon. Wow, I like that little outro music there. Wow, I don't know if he has that for all of his videos. Okay. But yeah, look, that was actually really interesting. Look, it's one of those ones as well where you'll be surprised at just how much things are different between the US and the UK. And that's something that I definitely experienced, having been in the US like now and having came to the US a few times. Like, yeah, man, we both speak English and I guess we're both familiar with each other. But it's to say there's so many literal intricate differences, and even for how he's able to even make a video out of this for bedrooms just goes to show, like, you wouldn't think, like, I wasn't even aware that some of those things are different, which is actually really interesting. And even I did the one that even surprised me the most is what he talks about with the top sheet. I literally have a top sheet under the quilt and stuff like that, and I was like, what is that? I thought it was just like there by accident. I didn't ask questions though, because I was like, I'm sure there's a reason for this. And now I figured it out. So, interesting stuff. Look, let me know what you guys watching, if you guys agree or disagree with some of these, or if you're aware of some of these. I should say if you're aware of them, right? And let me know if there's other things in here that may not have been mentioned. And also, look, if you guys want to check out the original video, it'll be linked in the description. Let me know if there's some more videos you want me to check out, diving more into some of the similarities and differences between UK and the US. And yeah, guys, if you made this point, comment down a blue heart so I know who my real ones are. And if you want to see me check out some more stuff to do with America, then I've got a playlist you can check out at the end of this one. But yeah, look, guys, love you guys that makes this point. You guys are the roots of the real. And as always, guys, I've been your boy JayFlex, and I'll see you wonderful people on the next one. Peace.